What's going on, you guys? Kenny here, also known as SolidFan85. Welcome to another vlog. Bit of a late night thing. You'll have to excuse how I look. Yeah, I just got there watching, it sounds funny, Lego Batman, the movie. And in the movie, it talks about friendships. It talks about how one guy can't take on the world alone. um, I've always gotten messages from games and movies and how they could potentially relate to my own life, which I think isn't something abnormal for a viewer or for a fan of a certain genre. And I kind of wanted to outline to you guys how my life is developing friendships-wise, because the last few years I've been closed off. And I've only just now gotten to the point where I'm able to reopen up to people in real life. Streaming's been easy because you guys are essentially words on a screen, but there's people behind those words, and it's been easier to relate in that manner because it's not as heavy. With that said, I do put everything into streaming, but when it comes to real life, things have been pretty harsh the last few years, for those that know, but there was also a harsher point in my life that caused me to close up before my marriage. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit, because here in the last days of my YouTube vlog, I really wanted to open up a bit more and let you guys know who I am and who I've been throughout the years, because again, this channel is my legacy. Such as it is. But in my early 20s, around 22, 23, was one of the rough years of my life when it comes to my social life. For three reasons. It was because of three friends I had. And within a year, some stuff had happened, and I wanted to outline it here. I've talked about this in counseling. I've tried to talk about it in other videos. But it's been tough and it's been rough to really acknowledge it. And I have inside, but I've never really presented it outwardly. So I hope that, how other vlogs have done, this will help me cope a bit more with it, which I've been doing a good job. I'm proud of myself. But at the same time, it still pops up. So I figure if I get it out and put it out on the internet and share it with people, maybe it'll help them as well. But my heart, my heart started closing up around 22 or 23 because I had three friends. Two of them I'm not going to name because they are still among us, and I'm not sure where they are right now, but hopefully as I record this, they're doing well. I wish them well. But one of them, Samuel Starnes, he was a best friend of mine. He ended up passing away at the age of 26. Or not 26, 23. Around 23. He had just graduated college. He was about to get his degree as an English major. And he died of heart difficulties. Rest in peace, Sam. There's not a day goes by that I don't think about him. And how he died young. How he never really got to live his life. But he had good friends, and he was a good friend. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend his funeral. But he's always stuck with me. And I've always tried to use him as an example of what a good friend is. Because he always stuck with me. He always talked. We shared so much. And he's always stuck with me. I still have him on Steam as a part of my Steam friends list. And I find myself messaging him every so often. Again, one of my early best friends. He'll always be with me. But around that same time, my two other friends, one got locked up for, we'll just say, some illegal activities. The other, I was betrayed. pretty heavily. I had essentially lost all my best friends in the course of a year. And it caused me to close up. It caused me to shut people out that weren't immediate family. And it was one of the hardest periods of my life. I still reel and deal with that because a few years thereafter, I was in some off and on relationships. I didn't really have any friends. I mean, I was in relationships, but that's what it was. I was just in serial relationships, one after another. And while I still, count those ladies as friends and they still have a part of my heart, when it comes to anything not involving any sort of sexual relationship or intimate relationship, they're really, in real life, close to me physically. There really hasn't been to anybody to come along to really fill that spot, if I'm being totally honest. Up until recently. I've been able to open up my heart again. I've been able to finally reconnect with people. I'm still in the beginning stages. I'm still figuring things out, and it's probably still going to take a few years for me to really develop, to be honest, to get to where I was in my late teens and early 20s, because I was a very outgoing guy. I connected left and right. But after that 1 year, that's when things went downhill for me. That was a storm of my life that just began 2 other storms thereafter. Then came my marriage, which I didn't really have any in real life friends that I wasn't connected to other people in some way. Aside from my wife, who, was always a best friend. But again, that's still a relationship. And then, of course, the divorce happened, and that caused me to close off again. But I'm proud of myself because I'm back to a point to where I am beginning to heal. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Online friends are one thing. They're definitely friends for a long time. But when it comes to the degree of connecting with folks on a real life level, being there to be able to fist bump them or shake their hand or give them a hug, aside from immediate family, there really hasn't been a whole lot in my life. There are people I've associated with and I'm proud of always. But I'm proud to say that I'm able to reconnect again. I'm able to see people, start to deal with my trust issues with people, and really know that, as the message in the movie went, I don't have to take on the world alone. You guys as a community, you've always been there. You've always helped me. But again, when it comes to the real life stuff, that's a level that is a part of who we are as human beings. A bit of community, immediate community that can be reached physically, be in contact with physically, and can't look each other in the eye. And that's been a hard part for me. A really hard part. But again, things are changing. I'm entering a new season of my life to where I'm starting to realize again who I am. It's taken a long time, and it's still going to take some more time, but I'm really proud of myself. And look, if you happen to go through the same thing, if you happen to have shut off your heart, hardened your heart, not letting people in, you can try to take on the world alone, but unless you have somebody to talk to, somebody to connect with, somebody to spend moments with, family, friends. It's never going to be easy. You may be the strongest person in the world, but eventually this world gets the best of you. And it can cause some dark moments to where you feel alone and trapped. Especially if you deal with mental issues and you deal with past childhood trauma, like I did. Because everything became compounded at that point in my life that I just spoke of. And then, eventually, you get to the feeling of where I ended up, in a place of having an episode, and there's no rescue, there's no light, there's nothing, except an abyss that the only way to really get out of it is to do something tragic. But I'm past that. I'm past that point. It may rear its ugly head again at some point, but I've learned from it. I've grown stronger for it. Now it's up to me to be able to utilize that lesson and to grow from it. There's been a lot of realizations in my life recently, but I'm a man. I grow, I learn, and I've always had a really good heart. And thankfully my heart is learning to beat again for other people. I don't know where it'll be with relationships. I've had my run of relationships lately, and when it comes to the opposite sex, and I don't know where I'll be with that. But friendships and people, that's getting easier, thankfully. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. And I hope this helped. I hope this helps to be able to connect with somebody, even if I'm just on a screen. I may never be able to hug you or say hi to you or meet you eye to eye, but we're all human. We all have it in us to relearn and adapt and grow if we really want to. See ya.